And then obviously, as we said earlier, it was a pretty close fight until the time of the stoppage.
Yeah, for sure.
As far as what you got going on, obviously we're watching you train here. What do we see Gabriel Rosado at in the next few months? So there's been a lot of chatter about. I know I've seen it firsthand. I know there's been a little bit of jaw jabbing between you and Daniel JACOBS. Is that the fight you want next?
Well, yeah, man. You know, I've always wanted that JACOBS fight just because what it brings is two East Coast guys, Philadelphia, Brooklyn. Don't get no better than that. You know what I'm saying? So I just think it's a fight that makes perfect sense. You know, obviously they're still figuring out the situation between him and Chavez, but you know, Eddie Hearns is definitely keeping me in the loop, letting me know, like, look, man, you know, there's a chance you'll fill in for Chavez. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see how it plays out, man. I just gotta stay sharp, stay focused, you know, and see how it plays out.
So when we talk about Chavez, I think, what do you think gives him the opportunities? Why do you think he gets the opportunities when it comes to promoters and still getting on these big cards despite everything that's happened after all these years, testing dirty?
I mean, honestly, man, I think obviously his father is a legend, you know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of it is the Chavez name, you know what I mean? I think that's what it comes down to, period. It's just the Chavez name. It's a big name, you know, but I think he's tarnishing his father's legacy, man. You know, I think his father obviously put it out there that he doesn't want him to fight JACOBS. Yeah. His father's not even in agreement with the fight. But, you know, he's his own man, bro, so, like, I don't want to, like, come off like I'm judging him. You know what I'm saying? Look, he's going to do what he's going to do. But the fact that he's getting this opportunity, you know, I just think just kind of puts it in perspective, like, what people think sells. Sure. But at the end of the day, I really don't think fans are going to support that. Like, because I don't think, you know, the only fight that the fans are going to support is when you're able to convince them. Like, for instance, like, when Conor McGregor fought Floyd Mayweather, the only reason that fight sold is because you got MMA people that actually believed that Conor could win that fight. But the boxing fans knew Conor won't win that fight, right? Yeah. So what made that fight great was it was the boxing world against the MMA world. Yep. So the boxing world ordered that fight knowing Floyd would smash the MMA world, right? Yeah. And then the MMA world ordered it because they thought they guy was going to win. So that's what made that fight so appealing. But let's say Conor was not even an MMA fighter. Let's say he was a boxer. That fight would have never had sold because they'd have been like, are you kidding me? You know what I'm trying
Sure,
to say?
absolutely.
So
it's
like,
the name.
Yeah, so I think with Chavez, I just think that name is so powerful. His father was so great that, you know, they give him the benefit of the doubt. But I think at this point, the fans are just kind of like, you know what I mean? I think they kind of know what it's hitting for. I don't think no one actually expects Chavez to even put up a good fight.
Well, we first got to see if he even gets approved, because it looks like Nevada, Chavez Jr., and the fact that his name probably is what's keeping him in the loop of another big fight. You've conducted yourself in and outside of the ring for years. At this point, a lot of people know you as an action warrior. Yeah. It's safe to assume you feel more deserving of that fight. Am I right?
Yeah, man. I think the fight, you know, not to toot my own horn, but I think the fight actually makes more sense. Just because the fans are going to know that it's actually going to be a fight. And I think I obviously come in as the underdog, but it's the underdog everybody roots for. Sure. You know what I'm saying? It's the underdog people want to root for. And it's the underdog that people actually think has a chance. Not is just going to put on a good fight like Gabriel Rosado has a chance. Fights like that are entertaining. It's like Kovalev and Canelo. They had Canelo as the favorite, but obviously they're thinking Kovalev got that chance though, because he could punch, he's bigger, so it makes an intriguing bout, and that's the fights that sells, the fights that are intriguing that way. So I don't see how they're gonna market. I don't see how they can market Chavez and JACOBS, where Gabriel Rosado and JACOBS is like the shit just sells itself. It sells itself. And you don't even have to do. You don't even gotta do all this crazy pumping it up. The shit just sells itself. regardless.
Philly versus New York.
For sure.
Something, a history between the two of you guys.
For sure, bro.
Where would you like that fight to happen at? So,
well, you know, I have no control where that fight would happen. Obviously, that fight makes more sense in the East Coast and like Philly, you know, Atlantic City, New York. But I mean, who cares at this point, right?
as long as it happens?
Yeah.
What are your discussions right now with Eddie Hearn?
Well, you know, Eddie's keeping me in the loop. Obviously, you know what I'm saying? And you know, they really don't know what's going on with Chavez. You know what I'm saying? So obviously, if that's not happening, then you know we fight JACOBS. So we'll see how it plays out, man. It's all very interesting. I mean,
December 20th, it ain't too far away.
The drama.
So are we looking at a date? I had heard
Of boxing. It's December 20th.
December 20th is the target date.
December 20th. So it's just a matter of just staying ready, you know, and we'll get a better idea of things like in the next couple of days. I mean,
Being in LA, anyone in particular you'd like to have in your corner, or anyone that you're working with? Are you able to share that with us, Gabe?
not right now, man, but I'm definitely making a change with my team. So just know the trainer is legendary Hall of Famer.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
So it's, you know what I mean?
we'll take that.
It's
What?
it's as great as they come. You know what I mean?
That's important to have. I mean,
Yeah.
if he's a legend, I'm sure there's plenty of experience that he could bring to you.
For sure. You know, I got a couple fights in me, bro. I've had a long career, 14 years. So it's just a matter of putting myself in a position where I give myself the best chance to, you know, win these last fights, man. You know what I'm saying?
If Daniel Jacobs gets wind of this video, watches it, do you have a message you'd like to share with him?
Well, you know, me and Danny had words. It was actually on the rematch of the Canelo Triple G fight. Ran into the lobby at the Cosmopolitan.
I was there. I caught it. I caught it. I might have to pull that video.
And, you know,
I might have a little bit of it.
He wasn't happy with words that I had said on a YouTube interview or whatever, on an interview that, you know, he saw on YouTube. And, you know, I wasn't feeling a couple of things he had said. And, you know, we kind of just faced off on each other, and he told me what he felt, I told him what I felt. But it came down to obviously came down to a mutual respect. But it was just like, you know, he said, what do I get out of fighting you? You know what I mean? Well, what do you get out of fighting Chavez? That's the real question. What do you get out of fighting Chavez? You know what I'm saying? Me, at the end of the day, what I told him was, the fans are going to see me regardless, win, lose, or draw. When Rosado's on the bill, fans want to see that fight. You know what I'm saying? So, last time I checked, this is the entertainment business. This is about who put asses in seats and who people want to see, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm still relevant, then I'm doing something right? So that's just the whole thing. Like, is Chavez really relevant? He's not. You know what I'm saying? Has he looked good in any of his fights? No. You know what I'm saying?
One rounder.
And you can say, oh, well, this is what promoters love to use. Well, Gabe, you know, you lost your last fight. Well, yeah, I lost a Selecki fight, but I came back in that fight, putting him down twice, where the referee could have easily stopped the fight with the second knockdown. Because the man turned his back on me, fell on his knees, and pretty much crawled away to the corner. You know what I'm saying? So it's a fight that could have easily been stopped in my favor. You know what I mean? It was an entertaining fight. It was a great fight. You know what I mean? It's all about how you lose, bro. There's fights where guys lose because they quit. There's fights because guys lose and they just pretty much get beat down. You know what I'm saying? But then again, you got fights where a fighter lose, but he really won. He really won the crowd. When Gotti would fight and he took an L, he won over the crowd. You know what I'm saying? And that's happened plenty of times with great legendary fighters, you know, Evander Holyfield, whatever the case may be. Obviously, we train to win. We train because we want to win the fight.
Sure.
But, you know, if you go out in a fight and give it your all, you know what I'm saying, and put your heart out there, man, you know, the fans appreciate that. And that's what I got, man, where the fans appreciate that win, lose, or draw, I'm going to give them a rumble, I'm going to give them a fight, you know? So I think that's why that fight sells more, man, me and Jacobs. And he knows it, you know what I mean? Whether he wants to admit it or not, he knows it. He don't get nothing out of fighting Chavez. No one even expects Chavez to give him a fight at all.
I think Chavez has been inactive. I mean, he's only had a one round of fight.
Yeah.
since his last outing, and that was it. It was just basically one round.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that was one of the concerns about his father, him taking a fight against JACOBS as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man. But I think Chavez is worried about his health, man, and make sure he's good. He don't look good. You know, you watch him on videos, man. He don't look healthy, man. I honestly hope he's good, for real. Like, I don't dislike the dude. You know what I'm saying? I hope he's good. I mean, I hope he's thinking